How's everybody going? All right. Just going live on YouTube real quick, and then we'll be good to go. What's up, everybody? All right, we're live on YouTube. Beautiful. All right. So, let's talk about the markets. If you guys weren't paying attention, we had PPI data yesterday that came in pretty hot, right? And markets didn't like that. And we going into a weekend, we started to notice a trend. I'm going to point it out. So going into the weekend, Bitcoin was selling off. The S&P was selling off going into the weekend. NASDAQ selling off. Get rid of all my stupid TA, but you get what I'm saying. And then what did we see? We saw gold pumping up. Gold having a green day. Oil having a green day. It was all leading to signs of something, right? I mean, we all kind of saw it coming. I mean, at least us in the Discord over at Tactical Edge Trading, we were talking about it. Like, we all had, like, skepticism. We're like, yo, something's happening this weekend. The markets are prepping for something right now. And let me silence all my alerts real quick, guys. But, yeah, markets are prepping for something right now. And we were just like, it just feels like if the U.S. is going to do something, they're going to do it this weekend. And it happens. Sometimes the charts kind of like tell you before the news happens, what's going to happen. So, yeah, I agree with you, Binya. Markets will be all over the place on Monday. So that's what I'm here to talk about, man. I'm going to go live tomorrow, too, going into CME Open. So I'll talk about a few things. So we could talk about gold right now. I think gold's on its way up to 5,600, regardless of what happens. We broke this level here on the daily, 5,100, and we flipped it. And it's now support. Go into your 4 hour. Look at this beautiful little bull flag. I actually caught a long on a back testing here. So I'm long on gold right now. I think gold gets back up here. Despite what the news is right now, I think this thing is going to run for a bit. Getting into oil. Oil we can talk about too. It's kind of just been in this falling downtrend, right? I mean, I got some trend lines on the weekly. But you could see the general gist of it, right? Downtrend. But if I get rid of everything and just talk about what's happening with the oil, we're coming up against resistance right now. That's all. See this area right here? This is previous resistance. We're trying to flip it. If oil flips this, I can essentially just kind of break through this little trend that it's been smacking through. Oil's going to have a big move. I mean, we're talking about back up to almost $100. It's like 30-40% move, maybe back up here, depending on if it wants to keep running. I mean, this could just be a giant bull flag on the weekly. Like, go to a monthly, I'll show you what it looks like. It's wild. But you see what I mean? Once we're above this level here, where's price typically go? It goes above 100. So every time we're above it, it's above 100. So we're now, this is like something I would be watching. I'd be watching oil, guys. We just fucking apparently... Allegedly, we assassinated their leader over in Iran. They're saying we didn't. So I don't know what's happening over there, but I don't think it's going to be great, and I think it's not going to help out I don't know if it's going to help oil prices unless we fucking take over, or like invade and actually take it, but I don't know, man. So I'd be watching oil for this little breakout here. You can start slipping above this like $70 level and holding a support. I think I'm going to go long. Probably put my money in oil and just let it sit for a bit. This could play out for a couple, this could be a year or two long play. But yeah, I'll look at some other stuff. I'm just kind of going through my my majors real quick. And let's talk about Bitcoin real quick. We got to talk about what happened with Bitcoin because let's be honest right now. US markets aren't open right now. So we don't know how gold's reacting. We don't know how, the stock market, S&P and NQ, we don't know how any of those are going to fucking react yet. The only thing we have is Bitcoin because Bitcoin's a 24/7 market, right? Blockchain. But look at this beautiful fucking, oh my God. Like when I saw this hit, I was like, damn, this is sick. So let's talk about the scenario here with Bitcoin. It's making this symmetrical triangle. We had pretty much been in a downtrend since the highs in October 6th. So it's making this little symmetrical triangle. It could go one of two ways. We're either going to break to the downside and hit this $51,000 level, which would make a lot of sense here, guys, right? There's that 51,000. It'll be the low of the range that we previously, like we broke out back in August of 2024. So like that 6-month long consolidation, that's the low. But let's talk about the flip side here. Let's talk about the candles. What are we seeing? I'm seeing buying pressure coming in at these lows, and I'm also seeing a higher low right now on the daily. So I don't know, man. Like, we wicked up and we took liquidity here on the daily. We didn't get a closure, but now we're putting in a higher low and we're getting a pretty good buy up right here. I am long. I went long earlier today. I snuck into a little bit of a long, and I'll show you guys how I got in. But I mean, look, if this thing starts to break this wedge, here's my theory. If this thing starts to crack wedge and start to establish support, like, we could run up theoretically. I'm going to show you just what the measured move would be, just like it was to the downside. It would take us up into the 80s. Maybe 82, back test some of these levels up here. You know what I mean? Look at this right here. Like, this would be a good place to come back test, just this previous range maybe. So if we start to break up here and we start seeing structure shifts on the daily, like, I'm going long. I'm going to add to my long, and I'm probably going to be swinging for at least up to 79, 80K. But in the inverse, if we start to lose this triangle, then we know we're coming down to the low 50s. So right now, the market's giving us a layup. It's telling us it's going to do something, and watch this pattern. So that's what I'm going to do. Should I wait to sell my alts or sell now? That's up to you, man. Are you still in alts? What are you doing in alts? You should have been out of those things. I mean, let's look at some alts real quick, right? Let's just go look at others. What's others doing? Not much. I'm going to be honest with you. Others isn't really doing too much here. This is your typical alt. Like, all your alts, generalized. We're just ranging right here. We haven't really broken structure or anything. I mean, we did get a good reaction here on this daily candle, but as I'm seeing it, it's the same situation as Bitcoin, right? You're forming this little symmetrical triangle, and once it breaks out of that, it's going to pick up direction once it breaks. So we're going to see what happens. If you break to the upside, then maybe you wait for it to top out, then you sell. I mean, look, we did sweep this wick low. For a reversal to happen here wouldn't be crazy. We'll just have to see where it goes. I wouldn't get too bullish, though. I mean, whatever this is probably just going to be a bear market rally. Just like we had a little bit of a rally here before a bigger move down. That's probably what you're going to see, a little bit of a rally before a bigger move down. I mean, it's not abnormal. So we just looking at crypto. We were looking at gold and stocks. You just walked in on the crypto part. We can look at whatever, but markets are closed right now. So unless it has a futures market that's open, I can check that out. But yeah, I'm long on Bitcoin from back down here. I'm going to show you why I got in. So this little breakout right here, where it came back down and tested trend. When it retested trend and started to break back up, I actually got in it down here. So I'm sitting along off that. The reason why, because look, it broke out of a symmetrical ascending triangle right there, right? So when these break and they come in back test, to me, that's go time. Like, let's see what this does. I originally thought it was going to stop out here, and it just kept running. So I'm like, whatever, let's just stay in the trade. But yeah, what do you want to look at, guys? They had a big move last week. Palantir, I could look at Palantir. I just want to make sure that the... Oh, man, I drew this out really nicely. Hold on, let me get rid of this shit. All right, so that's the weekly, that's the daily, that's... Okay, so this is the futures. I'm going to do this on the 4 hour so we get the futures data on this. So, look, Palantir is... It's pretty simple. I've drew it out, actually, right before this. You guys saw what I was drawing. All right, resistance. What's above the resistance? You had this pattern. What is that? That's a head and shoulders, dude. It is what it is, right? Oftentimes, when these things break the neckline, this signaled by my box, they're going to make a breakdown about that length, right? I'm going to go to the daily just to show you. So that takes us back down to like $70, right? But it's not crazy for these things to have a back test, right? So let's just talk about areas that Palantir could back test. One could be, I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. One could be the neckline, previous support, right? We tapped once, twice, 3 times on the 4 hour before we actually broke down. So maybe it makes its way back up here to back test. I'm just going to put this over here for now. We don't need that. You know what? We're just going to delete it. So maybe it does a back test back up here. If we can break, if we fail to break, then it's probably going to continue down. Like it's simple like that. There's really not much else I can say. If it can't break back into here, it's got no strength. It's going to roll over. And then you're just going to start looking lower to that like $100 level, $70 level next. If you can break back into this, right, then maybe you start attacking highs around 165. You know what I mean? That would make sense next. So that's the levels. I'd be looking at this 144 up to like 150 to see if you can get back above. And if you do, then your next big level is back up here at 165. I mean, look, if I just draw a little trend right here, like it could make sense to come back into this trend and back test. You know what I mean? So just some food for thought on Palantir. Straight scam. Netflix, yeah, I could look at Netflix. If you guys are nice, I'm going to look at your coins. If you're being a dick, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to ignore you. So, damn, look at Netflix. I said watch out for that, didn't I? I was like, look, watch out for this thing to pop. If you pop and reclaim, what's going to happen? I even drew it out. I even fucking drew it out beforehand. What's going to happen? It's going to come attack this high right here. And what did it do? That's funny. I like leaving LARP lines behind just for shit like this. So look, you're hitting some resistance right here at 96, which we talked about, which was a great bounce, by the way. And I said that. I say, look, if we can reclaim this level, it's a weekly support. If they just deviate below and it reclaims, this thing's going to launch. Like, it's going to run back up. So what's the next level, right? Let's talk about what's next. So, one, you're hitting major resistance. So I don't expect it to break through on the first attempt. So I think it's probably going to find some support somewhere between this high and maybe back down here at these lows. It could come all the way back down to 83 and still remain bullish, because think about it like this. Let's go to the weekly. All right, this is a support. Oftentimes when we break through a support, right, like our resistance and turn it into support, we flip it. We come back down and retest it. We did it twice here. So would it be crazy for us to, if we did pull back, to come back down here, retest this before a bigger move up? Possibly. Or it could roll over. But I'm just saying, that's what we're looking for, if anything. So if it holds this level, you're good. As far in the short term, it's really, you don't got much. I mean, you're at resistance. I wouldn't be going long right here. Maybe you can find a little bit of a trend to kind of just track, right? And if it makes its way back down to this trend and holds, maybe that's where you can catch a little bit of a long to push back in. You can also pull your fibs if you're a fib trader. Some people like to do this. Some people don't believe in them. I do pull them every once in a while. So look, there's a good level right here. So you see that 382? If we pulled back into this trend and 382 and we found support, that would be cool. I'd be okay with that. And if we break down lower, guess what? Our 618 sits at that 83 level, which is also that support I talked about. So there's confluence at those levels, guys. So keep an eye out for that one on Netflix. But don't go crazy trying to long into resistance after a pump like that. That's where the trap gets set, and you're gonna end up being fucking fish bait at the end of the day. Fucking green candle, I know, right? By the way, guys, if you're not following or subscribed, follow us. We do lives about 6 days a week. They're Tactical Edge Trading. We have a website, tacticaledgetraders.com. Free courses, access to our Discord, which is free as well. Check it out. You'll find a lot of value, and I promise. And like I said, it's no skin off your back. So, MSFT, what's up? What's up, Schmacken? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, I'm a little weary, guys. Look, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow when the market's open, because remember, this Iran stuff, people de-risked going into the weekend, and we showed it with gold. We showed it with the stock market. We showed it with Bitcoin. They de-risked going into the weekend. Now Bitcoin is the only thing that's open during the weekend that trades, and it's pumping. So what's going to happen on Monday? Do you think the stock market's going to rally? I don't know. We're going to see, though, but I think it's interesting. I think we might have a little bit of a relief rally going into next week, because they dumped pretty hard Friday. So, but maybe it'll just be another trap. So we'll have to gauge it as time goes by. Anyway, I'm going to go look at MSFT for my homies on Netflix. Not Netflix, fucking YouTube. My homies on Netflix. Yeah, fucking got to pour one out for those fucking guys, man. They've been getting beat down this fucking year. All right, look. MSFT, higher time frame. our fucking weekly trend is holding, right? We said, look, if this trend holds, there's a chance we come back up to this gap around 441, 445, right? What are we doing right now? Well, looks like we're going back up. Looks like we're holding support right now. I get down and on my 4 hour, what am I seeing? I said, look for the back test here. Look for this trend because it deviated, it reclaimed. Now it's coming back down to show, is it really going to hold? This is where the buyers got to step in. If this starts to pump up and take out this high around 405, it's you're in your money right now. Like that's going to be a good, probably going to get you some more upside. I can't say exactly how high, but if I had to pick a target, I would say it's the CME gap. You could see it on the daily back here. It just looks like an easy target back up to 440 if we can break this 405. So that's what I'm looking for MSFT. Maybe we get that little, on the lower time frames, we're going to get that inverse head and shoulders. We're kind of starting to see a little bit of it right here. You see what I mean? Maybe that pops us up. So that's what I'll be watching on MSFT, man. Look for this trend to hold around 390, 391. And you're looking for 405 to break, and I think you got some upside. What do I think's going to happen with the market with the Israel thing? So I think a couple things are going to happen. I think we de-risked a lot going into Friday, right? What does that tell me? People were scared, or people knew something, and there was some insider stuff. We were joking around about it because gold was pumping, oil was pumping, markets are all tanking. So what does that tell me? I think there's probably a mean reversion trade coming. What does a mean reversion mean? Essentially, when a market goes too far in one direction based off fear or greed, at some point it's going to go back in the opposite direction to the mean, to find balance. I think there's a chance for a mean reversion on some things that dumped hard. So maybe you get a little bit of a snapback on like the S&P, maybe on NQ or something. I mean, look, they got beat down pretty hard. If you're looking at this, look at this candle here. Let me just go back to the 4 hour on NQ. That's a pretty significant pullback here, but look what it's doing. I just want to show you guys what the NQ is doing. Let me get rid of everything here. Has it created a new low? Not really. It's holding the trend. So what is NQ really doing here? Look at this. You tell me what that pattern is. It's an ascending triangle. They have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. But look, if we do lose this, it's coming down, and it's probably coming down hard to this 24,000, maybe 23.8. But if we get that mean reversion, like, look, if this thing decides, hey, we had a nice dump, this is the Friday dump, see what I mean? Big candle down. Maybe it does what Bitcoin did, and maybe it's going to do something like this. And we're going to come back up here, and then we're going to have a decision to make. Do we break out and go for the all-time high again? Maybe one more sweep? Like, look how bittersweet would that be, right? This is me just talking shit. If they just came back up here, that's the measured move, by the way, if that broke out. If they came back up here, swept all the highs just for one final grab and then roll it over. That would be evil. That would be painful for a lot of people. He said it's a no-brainer to go long on gold. I mean, gold is going up going into Friday. Gold might get a pullback. Gold had a nice rip. I think it's going to continue up in the long term. Like in the next couple weeks, I think we got some gold pumpage ahead of us. 5,600, I think, is coming. So did we look at MSFT? We did. I did MSFT. Yeah, no problem, Schmacken. I got you, brother. Let me see CoreWave. I got a lot of questions in chat right now. Hold on, let me try to get to everything. $2, you obviously haven't done your research. Oh, okay, you're talking about somebody else. XRP, I'll check in a little bit, but I do want to... He said it's a no-brainer. Yeah, so that's kind of what I think is going to happen on that. All right, CoreWave. I'm going to give you the good news or the bad news. And I'm not going to draw any more lines here except for one. What does this look like to you? Looks like a bear flag to me. That's the trend on the weekly. We can't get back above that trend, right? I go to my daily. What's happening here? Well, every time we get up in this area, we're rejecting. We're getting sold off into. If this line gets lost, this thing is probably coming back down to $34. Just straight up telling you. Inversely, This trend has been here since the high. If we break it to the upside, then you're probably going to start attacking this 150, maybe back up to the highs. But this looks more bearish than bullish, if I have to be honest with you. Like, I'm looking at it on the daily. Like, that's not a good look. I think it's probably going to come down. Maybe you'll get a relief rally, right? Where it'll come take out this let me get rid of that. Where it'll come take out this CME gap right here. See how it left the gap behind from here to here? Maybe it'll come back up, take that out, and then bigger move down. You know what I mean? So that also could be another trap. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look bullish. I'm going to be honest. Like, and the trend's down, and this looks like it's got one more push down. But I could be wrong. And you know how I've changed my tune? If it breaks this level, if it breaks this trend. So I've already looked at MSFT, dude. You missed out like 5 minutes ago. Do you think will happen to sell Monday night? I don't know, man. That's going to be a tricky one tomorrow. I think you might see a little bit of sell-off in crypto because crypto's pumping right now. So there's going to be a CME gap going into about 5-6 p.m. tomorrow Eastern. I don't know if gold or the stock market sells off because they sold off Friday. So would they sell off? Maybe they'll pump up a little bit. I think they'll probably get a little bit of a relief because if the Iran thing, which everyone was kind of like selling off into, is done, there'll probably be a little bit of a mean reversion. That's all. Doesn't mean we're going to all-time highs or anything. Maybe NASDAQ does. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. What are we looking at? By the way, guys, if you're not following, hit that follow, subscribe, like. We stream 6 days a week, myself and Ben. You could also check us out at tacticaledgetraders.com. We got free informational courses for you guys. We'll teach you everything we know about the markets. And we don't gatekeep our systems, how we trade, what we look at, what we look for in the market. It's all there. Ben lays it out really well. You could also get access to the Discord. We trade live in the Discord. We post charts. We're not a signals group, but we just had a meeting a little bit earlier, accountability group. We do once a week. We talk about our fuck-ups, how we could avoid them next time. Like, we actually dissect each other's trades to get better, and that's how you get better as a trader. And we do it as a group. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check us out. Tactical Edge Trading. Website, tacticaledgetraders.com. Anyway, let's go look at some stuff. I'm done with my shilling. Iron. Someone asked for iron. I feel like I'm always looking at iron. Oh, man, I drew this out a while back. So, look. I was actually charting this one the other day. So, here's our big levels. I already got this all mapped out for you. So, look. 2 big levels to the downside. You got 33.37, which is this low here. It's a weekly low, daily low. And then we have this trend that's starting to form a little bit, right? It's not clean, but it's there. It's enough for me to want to respect it. It also lines up with this little bit of a range low we're seeing here. So if we start losing this low around 39 and this trend, we're probably coming down to this 33.50, 33.40, whatever that number is. Inversely, if we can flip this zone here at 47, we could have a shot at coming back up to test the trend. Maybe the high up here around 55. So right now, it all depends which way this trend break or this range breaks right now. Range, right? If it's going to break down, boom, or it'll break up, boom. So we wait to see what happens. If it breaks this larger trend, then you're probably coming back up to the highs around 77. But that's more macro. If that happens, I mean, you're looking at like a bigger pattern. I'm going to get rid of everything here and just show you kind of what I mean. Could be like a bigger. I'm not even bullish on tech right now or anything, but I think this is if I'm not mistaken, this might be energy. So maybe it's a bigger flag. Who knows? That'd be crazy though, wouldn't it? Just kind of moon mathing it right now. Damn. That'd be crazy. Anyway, that's iron. I won't get too ahead of it. It's got to break a lot of levels first. And we're still in the downtrend for now. So we'll see what happens. Jujul? Yeah, I can look at Google. One second. I gotta switch this song because it's just trash. All right, Alphabet, Google. Pretty simple here. You have a high. You put it at 349 and you lost your trend from June 25th. Actually runs back the peak or the bottom, like the trough rather, is back from April 2025. So this has been running up since then. That's the tariff lows. We've lost that trend. What do I think happens here? Well, we're on the daily. We're attempting to reclaim. You can see I have a lot of levels drawn out for a reason, but look, we're attempting to reclaim. If we can get back above this trend, then I think, hey, maybe we'll go back for the all-time highs. But for now, it's rejecting, just like you saw right there. So what am I thinking is probably going to happen? Something like this. I'll be looking out for the shoulder, head, shoulder here. I've seen this scenario a lot. Oftentimes when you get these trend breaks, that's one of the most predominant patterns you will get. How does it invalidate that? It gets back above trend. That's all. But otherwise, if you start to lose this neckline at 296, because this is starting to develop into that, you're probably going to come down a lot further than this level here. This is just your first stop, 270. I would say you're probably closer to down here. I mean, let's look. What's the measured move? Yeah, it's pretty much down here around 244, 250. So maybe it makes its way down to these lows down here. And let's see, is that anything like a Fibonacci pull? Let's figure it out. Not really. 382 would be right here, would be that 270. Probably a 50% level though, I bet you. That's an institutional level right there. Yeah, see, right there. That's an institutional level. They like to use the 50% retraces. That's where they'll start buying up. So yeah, that would make sense. 244, if it gets all the way down there, that'd be a nice place to start probably looking for a bounce. Tesla? Yeah, I could look at Tesla. And then I'm going to look at JPN next. I'm trying to go back and forth between my people on trendline trading. I do a little bit of trendline trading. So trends are just kind of my signal to when price is going to move or when I should start paying attention on the charts. But realistically, man, I'm looking for more than that. I'm looking for identifiable patterns. I'm looking for divergence. I have a whole system. But trend lines are just the way I kind of look for things. You're looking for horizontal support and resistance, and you're looking for a trend. And most times, I'll tell you what, you're probably going to win those trades. It's like they work out, I think, 2 out of 3 times if you just play the trend, but you can find other confluences that'll bring that higher up. You can get to like a 70-75% win rate if you have a system that's decent. You'll never have 100%, but I mean, I know traders that are in the 70s, and I've had runs where I've been in the high 70s. Now I'm probably closer to 60%, but risk reward keeps me profitable. So anyway, Tesla. Let me erase my LARP lines real quick. All right, so look. I'll get rid of this. The only levels you need to focus on is one, we lost trend, right? And we're trying to reclaim it, and we're not getting it back above. So the level to watch is 385. You lose 385, you could make your way down to 300, maybe even sub 300. Like, this is all up for grabs right here. Everything you see here on Tesla, if we lose that level, is all up for grabs. So this is the big level to hold, 385. To the upside now, I mean, look, it's been in a downtrend, right? It's going to have to break this trend. It's going to need to break that, and it's going to need to start reclaiming some levels. And it's really this level here, if you ask me. I mean, sure, if it breaks this, that's great. But, I mean, to get back into this, we need to crack this. And then I say you may have a shot back up to the highs. But that's like, oh, man, the odds are stacked against you there. I think the probability still remains downside because you've lost trend and you're in a downtrend. So until it shows otherwise, you have to just go with what the charts are telling you. But, hey, there's always a chance. You never know. But it looks a little bit more bearish. I mean, the charts even look bearish on the daily. This doesn't look great. Momentum's just, money flow is just slowly bleeding out. I look at my weekly. Momentum's still coming down. Maybe this does start to flip, but I think it starts with the daily coming up, and the daily doesn't look too hot. So, but maybe there's a relief rally. Maybe we come back up and test some of these highs around like 420 to 426, maybe 430. So we'll see. Yeah, dude, I mean, look, I don't trade any of these things, so I'm just being a non-objective. Like, if it's bullish, I'm going to tell you it looks bullish, but I could be wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm just one person. I don't dictate the markets. I just tell you what I see. If this, then that is usually kind of my trading motto. So JP Morgan Chase looks a lot like S&P and NASDAQ, right? So you have your tariff low here. You have a trend probably of some sort right there. See that crack? I could show you, look how sharp that trend is, right? Touch, broke, back test. So right now, it's doing the same thing everything else is doing. It's starting to form a neckline. I'm actually going to use a different line for that. Let's do right here. See that? That's your support. That's your base. And we're also starting to look a little bit head and shoulders. So this is starting to look like distribution. How do you invalidate that? You start taking some highs out. But if you lose this 292 level, I mean, this thing could run back down. I mean, the first stop is probably going to be down here, the previous high, around 278. But I think it comes lower than that. I think ultimately you're probably going to come take out these lows around 255. Just looking at this, eyeing this up, if I take the measured move, it's probably going to take us to 255. Just guessing here, but let's see. 251. Close. So, yeah, that's what you're looking at. And then, look, if you're looking to the upside, you want to break this. You need to start breaking highs. And right now, look, it's lower high, lower high, lower high. Start cracking some daily highs and start flipping structure. And then we can start talking about maybe a retest of this 325. That's the big level you want to crack. Because that's the right shoulder, you know, and that's the rejection. You want to get that. If you crack that, you probably come for the all-time highs again. This is really the big level. But, you know, you got to flip structure. You need to see some breaks and higher lows, and that's how you get back up here. So, yeah, that's JPM on that one. Do I trade futures? Yeah, I do. Somebody's asking for coin. I could look at coin, but it is closed right now, so it's going to be after markets. Let me go look at coin. The big hedge funds put the prices wherever they want to make money both ways, and they control it. Yeah, dude, it's true. We don't control the markets as retail. And if you look, unless you're trading with multi-millions or closer to billions, really, you're probably retail. So you just got to swim. You got to follow the big whales, follow the money, and try to be on the right side of the move. You know what I mean? That's what all you're trying to do as a trader. Identify the right side of the move, and most of your system on entries and how you take trades, it's all about risk management. So it's trying to get like the best risk to reward ratio. So getting close to an area and being patient. That's the trick about. That's the finesse part. I'll tell you who's one of the best traders I ever met when it comes to finding entries. Nick, in the group, he goes by Donkey. Dude, when I tell you that man gets the tightest entries on some of his things, he'll have like a 12 to 20 something RR. Like that's like risk to reward ratio. I usually get like a 3 to 5 to 1, like a 3 or 1 or a 5 to 1. He's getting like 12 to 1s. I'm like, damn. Ben's pretty good too, but Ben's an SFP trader, so he trades sweeps. So he's always getting the extremity of the move. So Nick trades a lot like me, or he looks for back tests, and he always gets crazy RRs on that stuff. So kudos if you're listening, Nick. I know you're out right now, enjoying the weather. Dude, we've had such shitty weather in fucking Philadelphia on the East Coast. It's been such shit the last couple weeks, and today's been the first nice day. So look, I'm gonna give you the positives on coin, right? I talked about this level. I said we need to break this level. Why do we need to break this level? Because that's the daily high. We broke the daily high. Guess what we did? We shifted structure on the daily. That is fucking wonderful, right? But we haven't confirmed. So what we need to do is this. So I had those lines drawn up. So look, we come back down here as long as we hold above this low right here, 152. We can form what we consider a higher low, a daily market structure shift. You have your low, high, higher low, break, and then you look for the back test. That would open up the gates for this thing to have a bigger move up. If I was just speculating where it could potentially go, I would say this is probably my target up here, somewhere around here or up here. I'm just going to draw two lines, and then I'm going to pull up a tool that'll actually tell us where it'll go. Well, not tell us, but give us a good clue. It's called the VRVP. It shows liquidity gaps in price action, right? So look, yeah, this would probably be closer to this. Yeah, there it is. So you see how the gap opens up here, and it doesn't really start to pick up in volume to around this area I marked out. So price could realistically could move pretty quickly through here. So we could get back up into the 200s with coin. It just moves fast. Every time you look at this in the past and it hits when it bounces here, right? Historically, it's bounced several times, by the way, off this low. So for it to get a little bit of a bounce wouldn't be crazy, even if it is a lower high. Now, let me get rid of this tool here, this blocking our view. You get what I'm saying here? Like, this is not a bad spot to bounce. And I said that a while back. I posted this in a Discord for those who are paying attention. I said, this is not a bad level if you're going to buy coin. But we look for maybe a bounce, and I'd say this would be the level I'd probably get in defensive between like 230 and like 250 up there if we do start to mark up. And for now, like I said, 152 you want to hold. Coin will move before Bitcoin. Normally it does. Coin usually is like the signal of the bottom, right? It's like, I think when we bottomed out here on the 26th, when did Bitcoin bottom out? How did it bottom out at the same time? I'm going to sit there and pretend like that. No, they move at the same fucking pace. They're fucking, you got fucking crypto idiots in both of them. What is NVAX? I've done Netflix already. You could just go back and look at Netflix. I did an analysis during the video. So I'm not going to go over that one again. Got too many people asking for stuff. My bad, brother. By the way, guys, if you're not following or subscribe, hit that like, subscribe, follow. We do content 6 days a week live. We have tons of stuff on our TikTok, tons of stuff on our YouTube. We've got a Facebook. We also have a website, tacticalhedgetraders.com. You can check us out. Free courses on there, free modules. I highly suggest you go look into that stuff and learn a little bit. Educate yourself if you're not educated. And if you are a good trader, maybe you'll learn a little bit something that'll add to it. Maybe it's just a good refresher course for you. And you can also join the Discord from that website. So check us out, tacticalhedgetraders.com. Free to join. Come hang out in the Discord. Come talk charts. Maybe you want to come live trade with us. So, yeah. So, NVAX, what the fuck am I looking at? And we live trade, by the way, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Damn, dude, this thing has been, like, beat down to shit. It looks like a fucking, it looks like an altcoin. What the hell happened? All right, so I'm done talking shit about it. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So, look. Here's the range low, right? You're down here's, that's like the low, right? We're putting in a higher low here after this impulse, right? So let's just put it into perspective. Impulse up, we're coming back down, putting in a higher low, starting to put like a rounded bottom, maybe even a, right? I like to use this a lot, but you see this all the time in the charts. And if you want to sit there and fucking argue with me on it, I can back test and I prove you wrong. I promise. You'll see these a lot more than you think. But anyway, that's just one clue, right? But we're also starting to round off. So it's showing that the sellers are getting exhausted. And what are we starting to see? We're starting to see impulsive moves back up. And we're attempting to break this neckline right here. You see this? We might even broke it. Let me just adjust this just a little bit. Look, right there at that neckline. If this thing pops, it's going to run. I'd say your first target, maybe 15, and then you're looking up towards 18, 20 bucks. It's putting in a higher low on the weekly here, like on this higher time frame. Look at it on the monthly. Just look at it like that. See what I mean? Impulse, higher low. I'm sure it's like a crazy fib retracement, though. Yeah, that's a fucking ridiculously deep retracement. But, hey, I would look for these highs here next. If you pop this, I think you're coming up here. It's around 15 bucks. And if you break that, guess what? Back up here. Back up to this wick. Back up to this level you rejected off. So that's what you're looking for. And you want to hold this low. I'm going to show you on the... So this is the low you want to hold. You don't want to lose this right here. This is your weekly low, around $8. So as long as this holds and remains, you know, even if this does reject here, it can do this. As long as it doesn't break, it can still have a chance for a pop-up. Starts to lose that, then you start to attack lower lows. You don't want to do all that. So for the bulls, that's what you're looking for. Join friends. What the fuck? Lose this link. Hey, Gold Trader, stop showing in my chat, man. I'm going to ban you in a second. Seriously, don't shill shit. Don't throw the links in here, because this is my live right now, and I don't want people thinking that you're associated with me. You're not. Don't click on anything you see in somebody's live, guys. Fucking scammers love to be here. Like, every time I go live, I get, you know how many scammers try to join our Discord? So, like, they're in the lives, too. They're in the chat. So be careful, guys. That's for, you know, I don't want anybody getting hurt. That got legit. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I see it sometimes, and I'm like, sometimes I just brush it off, but then I think about it. The more I think about it, I'm like, nah, fuck them. Like, they're not going to shill shit, and if you want to do it on your own channel. That's fine. But don't try to, like, not here. Can you show the calculate risk reward ratio using an example? Okay, so look, there's a simple tool in TradingView. So let's say you were going to take this trade here, right? You were looking for, let's say you want to take this trade here. So this is your low. You're going to look for price to pull back, and I'll show you with the long tool, somewhere where you can put your stop underneath this low, right? That's the significant low if you're going to do a higher swing. And then you'd be looking to target up here. Now, you would need to get it tight enough so that the risk reward, see how it says risk reward right there, 2.96? For me, my rule of thumb is I always want it to be a 3.0 or higher. So I would need to get a tighter stop or tighter entry. So a better entry would be closer to this, like $8.50, maybe $8. Obviously, if you get really close to this level, then you got a tighter stop. But it also becomes more of a risk that it's going to break that low. So any pullbacks, I would look for something like that, maybe, right? And then look for a pop, and then I would try to get an entry that gives me a good risk reward to this level here. And I need a 3 or more. Does that break it down a little bit? I can't go too much in depth. If you want a little bit more analysis, like a little bit more insight on that, just join the Discord. Check us out, tacticalhedgetraders.com. Join the Discord from the free portal, and then hit me up, Unfair Philly, in there, and I'll break it down for you a little bit easier. And also, Ben talks about it really well in his risk reward, you know, you can actually see it right from the website. So if you're confused, you can go through that. And if you want to, like, a little bit more, then join the Discord, and we can talk. Alloy? What is... I'll go look at that, what that is. Lloyds Banking Group. Oof. All right. Man. Let me go to the monthly for this one. Okay. Shit, look at that. All right, so range high. Right around there. Range low, somewhere around here. And we broke out of it. So let's go to the weekly and see where we would pull back to. So what I'd be looking for is to see if this $89, $90 level is going to hold. That's the previous high we broke through, right? And you can see back here, for my trend people, see that? A little trend right there. It's like something like that, where you break out, you back test, takes off, right? That's the high you'd attack when you would normally take profits if you were taking this trade this long. So this will become support now, because that was the resistance, that was the target. So what I'm looking for here is to see if we can find some confluence at this level. So the only thing I'm seeing right now is probably a trend. Look at that. So we got that trend here. As long as this stays intact, it's going to continue up. If it does deviate a little bit lower, look for this support here around 989 to hold. You start breaking back below that, then you're probably looking back down into the 70s. So down here, this high right here. See what I mean? Draw that across and zoom over. See, so that's what I'm seeing. But look, for now, you're entering a low volume gap. I'm going to show you on the weekly, on the monthly. See all this? See how fast that moved? I'm going to pull up the volume on the monthly right here. There's nothing here. So as long as you can turn this into your support, this range, turn that into support, I mean, shit, you could realistically make your way back up to $300. That's the next target on the higher time frames. I mean, weekly, you could probably find some targets. So right here would probably be a good target around 200, but that's still a 100% move from here. So yeah, hold that 89, 90 bucks, man. This thing could run. Let me see how volume looks real fast. What's going on with this, by the way? Why is it moving up like this? I mean, volume's breaking on the daily, right? It's broke out on the daily. As it broke through this high, see how it broke? Look at this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to teach you a little bit something about volume. So look. Just look at volume here. As you see how we're hitting a wall on volume, right? Down there. Look when it broke. It also happened. It broke as price action was breaking this high. So that's a good sign. But the next thing you want to see is this volume to continue up. So right now we're at resistance again on volume. Look. So can we continue this uptrend on volume? So let's see. What's up, Disciplined Futures Trader? It's a very specific name. So let me ask you, are you disciplined and do you trade futures? This is a little bit of fun. I'm just messing with you. All right, I'm going to look at SWE for whoever was asked for 7 times. My bad, I didn't see it. I kind of ignore alts. Like, they're like on my back burner a lot of times because they're usually, if I TA one, I've TA'd them all. If you really want to know the truth, just follow Bitcoin. But look, SWE on the weekly, I mean, look, the low's here at 54. If it continues down, you're looking for this wick to get taken out. It also lines up with this low down here. Like, this is the support, right? You're above it. That's your weekly support. You've been trading in a range kind of like Bitcoin, right? What have we been doing? The same exact thing. So look, range low, range high. So you deviated below, you swept the liquidity, now you're reclaiming the range. I expect this should continue back up if it can hold this range. If it can establish support, then it's probably going to attack this high here at $1. If it breaks $1, guess what? It's probably coming up to 116. That's your next high. So, and if it breaks that, it continues up. You just keep looking for new levels. I would say the next big level is 135, but that's going to be major resistance. That's the previous range. That's going to be a big level to break. So that's SWE in a nutshell, man. If it does start to lose this range low, then you're coming to take out the wick back down here. That's probably your target at 57. So keep an eye on it. If you want to track it on the 4 hour, here's a trend for you. Take that 4 hour high, right? You're above that the little pop, right? So as long as you stay above this level and above this trend, you're good. You're bullish. You start to lose those, that's your sign probably things are going down. You know what I mean? It starts to do this, boom. Otherwise, I'd be looking up to here to a dollar. You're down some. I get that, man. I get that. What's your entry at? You don't have to tell me how much you're down, but what's your entry on SWE? Could be a dead cat bounce, Poppy. I think a lot of things are going to get that. Look, I'm going to show you something about March. I'm going to use Bitcoin as an example, and you can make your analysis off Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin's kind of like an overview of like a more exaggerated view of the market, right? That's how we like to think of Bitcoin. I'm going to mark off every March. Right? March. We're going into March now. Right there. But I'm going to show you that this is the more interesting one. Go back to last year, last cycle, right? Into March. And what did we end up seeing around this time? So after our big initial drop, around Q1 going into Q2, we saw a rally on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Starting in the beginning of March, right around here, right? We established a bottom here back in January. We pumped up a little bit, came back down into like February, put in a low, and then we start a good little rally on Bitcoin, right? Let's just put from the low here to the high. About a 30% rally. All right, what are we doing now? Well, we put in a low in February, January, February. Ring a bell. And we're starting to rally from this low. So if Bitcoin were to run up 30%, where would that take us? Shocker, 81,000. What else did I say today would happen? As we go up, we're probably going to go up to 80, 81,000. And it's simple. Why? Because look, just the measured move. I'm going to go full circle on you guys real quick. This is the pattern we're in right now, right? And this is why pattern trading is important to understand. At least know about them. You don't have to trade them. But look, where would the measured move take us if we broke out? Oh, shocker, 81,000. Get what I'm saying? Like, this shit all comes full circle at some point. So history's not always like an indicator for like what's going to happen, but it's something we look at. We all look at as traders, and it often rhymes. So we may see a little bit of a pump, and if we do, we have some targets. It could just be a relief, and a relief would be 81. That would be a relief rally, man. I mean, look at this low here. Let me just show you something real quick. When we put this low in here, when we dumped all the way down to 80,000 from fucking the highs at 126, right? We rallied from that low almost 20%. So there's always a chance that like from this low, we maybe this is it. Maybe we only come back up to 72. Or maybe we get a little extended rally because it has been coming down for a bit. So we'll see. It would make sense either way. Maybe 72 was the high and we're going to keep going. But we'll see this week, man. I think we're going to have some. I think the markets are going to tell us when they open on Monday. We'll probably get a clue. We probably won't know real good direction until probably Tuesday, if I'm being 100% honest. And the only reason I say Tuesday is because you got the false move Monday. You got a lot of the volume is going to enter the market tomorrow night going into Monday. And oftentimes there's a lot of manipulations and traps, sweep liquidity. So when volume's entering, that's usually the most risky time. So you let volume come in, you let the trap get set, you wait for the trap, and then you trade against the trap. So that's usually how I would trade into a Monday. Any news for silver? Yeah, we can look at silver. Same thing, man. I was talking about this level. I was like, if we can break 92 and hold 92, I think we go back up. Look at the last time we broke 92, right? Where'd we go? We went up to 120. We're breaking that level again. That's what I'm saying. We're like right there. So what do we need to see? We need something like this. A back test to show support just like we did here, and I think we run up. Does it get all the way to the top? I don't know. We'll see. But I think you got a good shot of coming back up to at least 110, maybe 108. Like these levels here. So, but again, if Monday opens and we start to lose this, we're probably coming back down to this trend first. If we lose that trend, then maybe 78. So those are the levels I'm watching on silver. But we won't know until it opens tomorrow night. So how much have I made from this, from trading? I don't really know. I haven't kept count over the years, to be honest with you. In the beginning was a lot of lost money, so I never kept count of that. But, I mean, I've been profitable for a couple years now. I mean, all of last year I was pretty much 100% trading. So I paid all my bills, everything on it. Now I'm taking a little bit more of a back step as a swing trader and running some businesses. So I'm doing more of like, but I do all right, man. I mean, I can make like $200-300 in a day trading sometimes. Sometimes I make less. Sometimes I make more. I've made a couple thousand before in a swing trade. I've held for like a week or two. So it's nice, you know, you just build up over time. It all is how much you have. And like, you know, if you're trading with 100,000, it's going to be a lot easier to make $1,000 a day versus if you're only trading with 10,000, then you have to really like fucking shoot for a 10% win, which is very risky. So it's all relative at the end of the day. But like 1 to 2% is usually what I shoot for in a day. If I can get 5% in a week, I'm happy. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I don't get that. So that's usually that's the way I like to think is in percentages. Do you think I should buy or sell starting Monday? I don't know, man. It depends what you're talking about. I don't give financial advice here. I don't tell you what to buy or sell. I mean, just watch the levels, and if you understand trading, then you know what to do at those levels. If you don't, I really can't help you. What I can tell you to do is maybe check out our website, tacticalhedgetraders.com. We have courses. We lay it out. We tell you how to basically read the markets. We'll teach you what we know. But I really can't make that decision for you. I can tell you what I'm going long in. I am long on Bitcoin now, but that might change in a couple hours. You know, I don't know. We'll see. He said we are fucked. What do you think when I start trading? I know some things, but don't have time right now at 16. When should you start trading? If you're 16, man, I think you should educate yourself. Learn as much as you can about. Read as many books as you can. Take some courses. Don't use real money. Save your money. Maybe get a simulated practice account, like a demo account, and trade with fake money, but using real markets, and build a system. And that way, when you get a little bit older and you start to actually be able to work, have some money for yourself, a little bit more freedom, then, you know, you'll be ready to go, dude. But I mean, it's never too early to start learning. Why are we fucked, Kay? I did look at Bitcoin. I've looked at Bitcoin like several times. It's hitting that level I was talking about. I'm gonna show you right now why it's rejecting here. It's this level here. It's got to break this. I'm get rid of these trend lines. So look, we got to bounce off the low of this symmetrical triangle. It's at the high right now. If it breaks this thing's gonna hit 72 before the end of the weekend. Like if we break this today, I guarantee we'll be at 72 probably going into tomorrow's open at some point. Because it's just the logical place for it to go. But I don't know if they're gonna do it all. Like that's a big move from the low. We just bounced like $4 or $5 grand from this low. Yeah, it was at 63. We went up to 67, so it was $4 grand. It's a pretty big bounce. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, so far it looks good. The volume's there. Volume's flagging out. Look at that bull flag. If that volume continues up, you start to see this break, which is starting to break and continues up, then I think price action is going to probably take out this high at 68, and then I think it's going to go attack the 69. If it breaks that, man, it's going up to 72. It's just a matter of time. So we'll see. But right now we're up against resistance, so I just watch that. Try scalping when you trade for an hour a day. Scalping yeah, dude, scalping's tough to trade if you're only doing for an hour, man. Sometimes my scalping sessions are like 3-4 hours, and I'm only in a trade for 20 minutes. A lot of it's just sitting in front of it waiting for the fucking level to get hit. Can I look at RIVN? Sure. What do you think about gold? I don't know, man. I think we might have a little bit of a pullback. I'm suspicious because we ran up into the weekend. I think gold might have a little bit of initial pullback. So, but I think ultimately, gold's still going to continue to go up because I don't think anything's changed in the macro. Like inflation came in fucking hot on Friday. That PPI was scary, to be honest, and that's why we saw gold run up. It's a flight to safety. So I think gold's going to continue to slowly make its way back up. It broke that $5,100 level. I think it's going to make its way up to $5,600 at some point to retest the highs. What it does up there, we'll see. But yeah, I don't think anything's changed in the macro. Right now, it's just people are, a little bit less scared because the Iran thing's kind of somewhat sorted. I don't know if it, I don't know if it's fully resolved, but we'll see. You think oil will go up? Oil looks like it's going to run. I'm going to go look at Rivian. RVN. Still looking a low week, I'm going to be honest with you. So here's what you didn't want to do with this thing, right? In order for this thing to get bullish, it's got to get back above this level around, I'm going to say around like 17, 18 bucks. So it could get there. I got to get rid of this. Hold on. I can't see what's happening with the price action. So the key is, see how this was like a little symmetrical triangle or ascending triangle here, and this was resistance. We broke it and we reject it, and then we tried to reclaim it and we reject it again. So what the bulls need to do for this to be bullish, they need to reclaim this level. They got to start holding above this support, and then they can start attacking this high and then back up here to around 25 bucks. But it needs to start with this level here around 16, 17 bucks. If we continue to reject here, I think at some point it's just going to roll over and it's probably going to crack this trend down here. And what does that open up? That opens it all the way back up to down here around 8, 9 bucks. So you don't want to lose that because that's coming down here. It's going to sweep all this liquidity here. See all that? That's all stacked liquidity for them to come grab. But otherwise, like I'm saying, otherwise it needs to break back above and you think you're looking bullish. I wouldn't even be touching it in here because it's starting to get a little choppy. This is going to start fucking like, this is going to go a little scary. I'd wait for it to break and retest first and confirm. Because this was a breakout, but it never firmly retested on a higher time frame. So I mean, it did a little bit for a daily move, but like on the weekly, it never retested. So we got to get back above that level. And right now, it's like not looking too hot, Looks a little bit bearish here. Like, this could be a bear flag. Or like a really fucking ugly inverse, like really ugly head and shoulders, you know what I mean? So, we'll see. Yeah, thanks, RTR. I try to explain it the best I can. What books? Dude, there are so many books. Technical analysis of the of the financial markets is one. Just look that up on Amazon. It's a simple textbook. I think it's like John Murphy or something writes it. There is some good books you can, like, if you want like a little bit more like fictional type of book, but also has some real life value in it. You could read Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. That's about Jesse Livermore. There is Trading Psychology, or Psychology of Money is a good one you should read. That'll change the way you think about money. There's so many, dude. I could sit there and like anything Warren Buffett's written, you're probably going to want to like maybe dip. It's a little bit boring, but there's some good value in it, man. Like things that you should just learning from the best traders, you know, any insight they give you, that's what you want to be hearing. Like, it's like if you wanted to be a quarterback, right? Who are you going to go talk to? You're going to go talk. If you could pick one person, you'd probably go talk to Tom Brady, right? Like, fucking teach me what you know. Greatest quarterback of all time, like on paper at least. Warren Buffett's the same guy. So, I mean, why wouldn't you want to hear what he had to say? Like when it comes to trading, he's the Tom Brady. So you'd want to hear what he had to say. So start there. If you want a little bit more, like I said, check us out, tacticalhedgetraders.com, free to join. You can join the Discord. We have a bunch of our members in there. They share the books that they're reading. You know, we talk about this stuff in there constantly. If someone found something interesting, we share with the group, and you know, maybe somebody else finds it good. So you can start there too. Tons of educational content as well there. Aren't markets closed right now? Well, it depends what market, man. Crypto ain't closed. Futures aren't closed. They're still trading. But like gold and silver, yeah, they're not trading. No problem, Joe. No problem. How do you know which markets to trade in? That's a matter of preference, my dude. Hold on one second. I gotta verify with TikTok that I'm still alive. That's a matter of preference, dude. Damn, I didn't realize how dark it got. When I started streaming, it was still sunlight out. I didn't have any lights turned on. It's a matter of preference, man. If you're gonna trade crypto, you're trading the beta to the stock market. So you're gonna trade a more volatile asset. If you're trading indices like S&P, like Nasdaq, you're trading with bigger volume, bigger players. So it's tend to be a little bit safer than if you were trading something that's a little more volatile, like an individual stock, something that's a low mid cap. So it really depends, man. There's forex traders, crypto traders, there's stock traders. There's options traders. That's a whole different fucking ball game, but they trade the same assets just in a different way. So you just got to pick which one you like. But I think you need to follow the U.S. market. So the U.S. stock market's a good one to start with. And then if you want to branch off, then branch off. Maybe a little bit of commodities like gold, silver are pretty good. They run very heavy on news, so you have to be careful of that. So you got to be very watchful of the news. And then you have things like crypto, like Bitcoin. They're a little bit more volatile, but they tend to be a more exaggerated version of the S&P. And they tend to front run things like the S&P 500. So when crypto starts to run up, usually it's people because early sign that people are getting a risk on. What's the best way to identify where to put my stop loss in TP? That's hard to tell you, man. It really depends, dude. You put your stop loss wherever your trade's going to be invalidated. You can use AI to trade, but it's not that simple, dude. Trust me, it's not that simple. It's a lot of decision making you need to make because the markets aren't black and white. There's a lot of gray that AI would probably oversight in the beginning. But to really answer your question about the stop loss, wherever your trade's going to get invalidated in a TPs, there's rules about TPs, but honestly, man, you can be one of those people that do a trailing stop loss. That price will move, your TP, will move up as price moves up, so you don't ever give it all back. And then there's rules of market structure. Like if you're trading on the 1 hour, you look for the last 1 hour high to take profits, the high that put in the low. Like if you trade market structure, so there's different rules to that kind of stuff. I'd suggest, man, join the Discord, tacticalhedgetraders.com. Check out the Discord from the free portal. I think you could really benefit from being around other traders because if you ask that question in the Discord, you're gonna get a lot of information. A lot of information I can't give you on a live is what I'm saying. So trade GPT, yeah, okay. What's your go-to strategy? My go-to strategy is buy low, sell high. Now I like reversals, so I look for breakout reversals of major supports and resistances. But I also look for trend reversals. Like the trend's my early indicator. So I wait for the trend to shift and I look for reversal patterns to enter and I wait for market structure to shift. I sometimes trade SFPs, but that's very seldom. I don't do that often. I have to be in front of the computer to trade an SFP. And I'm not in front of the computer as much as I want to be these days. So I'm more of a swing trader. I look for higher time frame, 4 hour, daily, breaks and stuff. So like BTC, for example, you know, like probably would have taken this short right here, and I wasn't this short right here. So when we broke out, broke basically fake out breakout of the trend right here, and then when we came back and back tested, that was my entry to go short, and I did, and I held the short for a little bit. And then I just do the same thing on the way down. You know, if let's say I like got out, or I see that this is happening, got a little bit of a bear flag and an established downtrend, I go to my lower time frame. I'll look for the breakdown. Sometimes you get a back test, sometimes you don't, unfortunately, and then you just play that game. Like right here, look, perfect example, symmetrical ascending triangle, higher chance of breaking out to the upside. It broke out, it retested. That was my go. That was my go to pull the trigger. There was other confluence signs that were going up there, you know. We had some bullish divergence going into that low right there. Money flow was coming up. There's a lot of things telling me I was at go long there. So, plus we were on top of trend. Look, perfect back test of trend. When I see that, it's like I almost always take the trade. Are you showing meme coins in here, bro? That's like you're next to the homeless right now on the totem pole. Like you're I feel bad for you. I like almost want to donate to you because like you're trading memes and showing them. Don't get me started on meme coins, man. I used to love altcoins. I fucking hated meme coins, man. I think they were just like, my buddy was a meme coin trader, and guess what he did? He's not in crypto anymore. He's having relationship issues and all this shit because he blew a bunch of money on meme coins. Like, it's an addiction, dude. It's like it's pretty much next to gambling in my opinion. So, but if that's what you know and you want to do and you accept that it's a gamble, then go for it. Just don't fucking put like your life savings into it like some idiots. Do you guys remember that Murad guy who was talking on fucking crypto Twitter about all of his meme coins, how meme coin cycle, that it's the start, and like he was in like these stupid ass fucking coins. They all went to fucking zero. It was SPX 6900, I think it was called. Hold on, I'm gonna look at it. There it is. I gotta go look at this shit. Well, let's go see how Murad's doing. Yeah, okay. Guess where he was talking about that shit right here. When he was fucking we're fucking peak FOMO up here. He's talking about how the fucking meme coin cycle is gonna happen, buys the shit out of this thing, puts millions of dollars into it. Look where it's at now. That's fucking insane, dude. That's what I'm saying, dude. You gotta be careful with this shit. Fucking down 90%. That's your life savings if you put your money in there. It's fucking gone to zero. Can I get in the training videos from Discord, or do I have to sign up? Yeah, you got to sign up on the website. It's like I said, it's free. You just I think you need an email. You don't have to put too much personal information. And then, yeah, you can get access to all the training videos. There is some training stuff in the Discord. We do have a learning library, but like the actual courses are on the website. So that's what I would do. What are my thoughts on a popular prop firm trading futures? It depends what kind of futures you want to trade. If you like Forex, check out Brightfunded. They have some indices, they have crypto, and then they have mostly Forex, but it's called Brightfunded. Great fees. Real good, easy too. Agreed, meme coins will wreck you. They will, dude. Anyways, guys, I think I'm about to call it. I just want to pop in here, do a little Saturday update. I usually don't go live Saturdays. Fridays are my day, but I wasn't feeling too great last night. Plus, we had some good news today. Like, not good news. We had some exciting news in the market, so I had to go live. I will be live tomorrow, guys, probably around 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I do go live like just after Asia opens. So keep an eye out. If you're not following or sub, do that, and then you'll get a notification when I do go live or when Ben goes live later in the week. And if you want, check us out, tacticalhedgetraders.com. We're a trading group. We trade Monday through Fridays live. You can join the Discord through the website, and you can also, if you want to learn about trading, go through our free courses that Ben put together. I'm talking about there's like hours, like a lot of time you can put into those courses. But I promise if you go through them, you're going to come out with a whole different outlook on the market. So check it out, guys. But anyways, I appreciate everybody for coming in. Yeah, dude, Mark, I get it, man. I get it. I've been in some fake ass discords too. Um, I mean, check us out, dude. And like I said, it's free to join the Discord. And if you don't like the vibes, brother, then you just leave, man. No harm, no foul. But I've been part of some bullshit Discords too. So, but I don't think that's us. So, there's only one way to find out. But anyways, guys, what do you think with the new daily candle in 19 minutes? Maybe. I don't know, man. I can't really go over that right now. But we'll talk about it tomorrow, guys. Not much is going to change between today and tomorrow, I promise you, in the markets. There's going to be some volatility, so don't FOMO in, don't rush in. And if you do join the website, check out the Discord, say what's up. Unfair Philly, that's my name. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow night, all right? I do share trades in there, BJM. I do. But I'm gonna run, so I'll talk to you guys later.